What up, everyone? It's your boy Why Not, back for another Tuesday talk. I hope you guys had an amazing week. I had a great week, and yeah, Tuesday talk. Let's get it going. So for this week, we are going to talk about some of my dark pieces. This week, I was hanging out with one of my old roommates, and we were talking about how when I first started making art, I was making these really dark paintings, and they were completely cool with us hanging them around the house. So yeah, you would walk in the house and see a lot of just like dark art, and everybody loved it. But sometimes his grandma would come visit and she hated them. Now, she didn't like them for religious reasons and thought that I was bringing bad spirits into the house. Which I find very interesting because, at the time when I started creating these pieces, it was very dark times for me, and that's exactly what I was doing. I was doing bad things, having bad thoughts, a lot of bad things were just going on, and sometimes my head would be in this dark place, and I just felt like the best way to show how I felt was recreate how I felt in that moment in art. So you would have these pieces around the house of some of my low points, and I kind of understand why she didn't like them. And it's actually, you won't really find these pieces on my page because I don't really like to glorify these low points in my life. I'm cool with talking about them, but to have them sitting on my page and just representing these bad times I had in my life, I really don't like to do that. I think I have like one dark piece on my page, and that's just because that one's like really powerful. So that one's that. But for these ones, I'm gonna show you guys. I have this one. A lot of it is just like, I try to recreate an image of myself. I think I was like crying a lot when I was creating this. So I have like cry. I think I wrote cry really big on here. And I try to do like this sickening image of myself. That's why like my skin is white, because I just felt very like in the shadows, very, sick. I wasn't liking it. And then after I was done with it, I just smeared it because I couldn't face myself. And that's that. Actually, once I got done smearing it, I actually created myself crying again. Yeah, so this one right here, very just, once again, my skin is white. I feel very sick. I feel like, I have a very colorless life kind of thing. This was meant to represent like the sea, or this dark sea that I'm just like lost in. Even on a bright, colorful light, it's still obscured with just dark clouds. These are my demons talking to me, whispering in my ears. They're happy that I'm not. I got my little nose ring in there. Also, that's a big sign that it's me, because so if you see that little red dot on a chest, that's for sure a big sign that this is a self-portrait. Also, I have some dark poetry in the back. By the way, there was a time where my head was hurting so, actually it was this time. There was a time where my head was hurting so bad for like a year straight. And I kept it to myself for a very long time. I honestly thought that I had a brain tumor and I was going to die. And me being myself, I'd rather just fade away quietly and just kind of be gone one day than to let people know that I'm dying, but I'm not. I'm safe. I'm good. I'm actually healthy. So, this event in my life went on for about a year, and I mean, I was, you know, friends were telling me that I wasn't being myself and all this and all that, and I was just trying to act as normal as possible without, you know, telling people that I think I have a brain tumor. That being said, my head hurts. I literally felt like there was a worm living inside of me. I used to have a painting of a worm attacking me, but I went over that one, so I don't even have pictures of it. Times in my life I try to forget, but my head hurts. Cry for help, people. This one right here is me just going completely crazy now. My body is still intact, but my head, you know, was in this crazy, you know, I can't separate the world from where I am. I like the idea that green means sickening, so I was very conscious of what the color green means in art when applied correctly. So I tried to just be very sick. I was doing a lot of things to make myself forget that my head is hurting, but yeah, this one was just kind of a crazy crazy one. I love this one though, like I really do. Another thing where you can tell where it's one of my self-portraits is, for some reason, one day I just decided that I'm gonna do this like circle, orbs, suns on the top right corners, top left corners. That's how you'll be able to tell that this is a self-portrait, because it doesn't have my red chest dot mark. This one, self-portrait, you know, it shows a man, eyeballs, like the eyeballs are kind of like all crazy looking, where it's like, you know, I'm blinded by I don't know what, blood coming out of my mouth, crying, you know, horns, you know, I wasn't being the best person, I wasn't feeling like the best person. Actually, this one is has some red marks, which would be the chest, and those lines that kind of represent the words that are on my chest. So yes, this is another self-portrait. Now, the one that is on my page, this was the height of when my head was hurting. It was dark times for me. They were really, really dark times. So you have red dot up in the corner. What it is a skull with its eyes just completely cut out, you know. I had did layers and layers and layers of paint, and then, you know, there was actually a person under here, and if you could see, I was literally clawing at this, just, you know, scratching at myself, you know. It was self-expression, you know. I don't really know how to say it. You can't see, this is actually one of the first times I used pastel, and I tried to do like my world on fire. You know, I put it in the suit of a clown. I felt like a joke. I felt like, you know, life is a joke. I felt like you know, God's playing a sick joke on me. Yeah. So now the quote is not something I wrote myself. I mean, I wrote it, but it's a quote from that dude, Boom Gang. I really hated that freaking guy. You know, I thought he was a cancer to the world. You know, he would do these videos of him meeting people, asking, and then running off and stealing their stuff and just yelling "boom gang," whole lot of gang shit. And I absolutely hated that person. I thought he was being a cancer to the youth. I thought he was, you know, spreading a bad message. I'm glad that he found God and has changed his life around. So after he changed his life around, I kind of, you know, was, how do I say it? Just researching him, and I came across this quote that I felt so deep about. I really related to these words, and I kind of realized at this point that everything he was doing was more a cry for help. So, you know, I was a lot more accepting of him now that he had changed his life. And I felt very okay taking this quote from him, being that a lot of these paintings I was creating were a big cry for help myself. So, Boom Gang, glad you got better, for sure. I do drugs because I feel alone. When I'm high, I feel nothing. When I'm sober, I feel everything. Very powerful piece. A lot of pain went into this one. At this point, you know, I am a bleeding red skull. Yeah. This one is the only one on my page that I share. I think it's very powerful. People tend to really feel something when they see it. During the same time, I was kind of sitting here thinking like, okay, well, all these abstract forms of myself, how will I be able to actually put myself and so people can look at me and be like, that's what he looked like. So here's me. I was researching a lot about colors and what they're meant to represent. So reasons why I chose green and blue, you know, from, once again, I mean, this, you know, rain is just a lot of tears I've cried. The green was meant to represent like sickness or illness. So that's why I'm a cut off head, and all you're gonna find in me is just tears and, you know, disease. So that is the specific reason why that is here. As far as this background goes, I had painted another piece under it, but it was not good. So I was like, you know what, just slap my face on top of there. So me. So lastly, just because it was part of this time, I'm gonna show you guys, but this one I feel deserves its own video. So I'm just gonna show it a little bit. That's it. So there you have it. A few of my earliest pieces, these very dark pieces that I don't like to show, that I don't like to talk about. You know, I don't like to dwell on the past. I don't want to sit here and talk about things that I am already over. So I keep them literally in the closet. You know, gentle reminders to myself of how far I've come mentally. And yeah, now I sit here, I make these pretty paintings, I make patterns, I make things that make me happy to make. So I am very, how far I've come, and in my journey on what I currently create right now is also such a big milestone for my personal self, because originally I was just making a lot of dark art. Every single one of my pieces was dark. I actually have some that I sold. I probably sold about 3-4 of them, but I do not like selling them. I put really dark emotions into these paintings when I create them, so it's something that I feel carries bad energy. So I feel that it really has to affect someone in some type of way for me to even consider selling these. But yeah, you know, they are a part of me. But just so, you know, people can kind of understand why I'm so passionate about my newer style of painting, it's because it's an evolution. It is a step away from these dark times that I had. I can just go and create a pretty picture and like love it and feel really good, compared to how every painting was just, you know, bad thoughts being poured out. That's my Tuesday talk. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Peace.